Sorry hindi ko na-record dito area na to. Di bale, nakita nyo naman eh. Ganun, kanina ni-record ko na eh. Okay? Now, if you don't have any questions, sorry guys, I failed to record this illustration. But, in 3B, i-re-record ko, then ipo-forward ko sa 3A. Klaro, Miss Gutierrez? So, nakalimutan kong i-record itong lecture na ito, itong area na ito medyo mahirap intindihin. Kaya lang, uulitin ko ito, I will repeat this lecture in section 3B. Pag i-record ko, then I will forward to both section 3A and 3B and watch the video para ma-review nyo how did I illustrate and explain it. Klaro, Ms. Gabionza? Miss Bulaon, Miss Pausto, hindi ko na-record yung kanina. Sayang, ngayon ko pala na-record eh. Kasi alam mo, ayoko ng mga pinipindot-pindot. Pag nandito na ako, lecture, kaya ako, ayaw ko nung nagle-lecture ako na ako mag-isa. Mis nakakalimutan ko eh. Matwane eh. Okay, next. 602 po. Gamotea, Gutierrez, ikaw na. Okay. Sandali lang po. If the withdrawal is to be made from Port of Manila, from one foreign vessel to a domestic vessel, okay, the domestic vessel or the importer applying for the withdrawal for transfer of goods from Port of Manila unloaded by this foreign vessel and this cargo unloaded is to be reloaded to a domestic vessel bound for Cebu. Ulitin ko po, no? In-unload sa Port of Manila, isinakay sa domestic vessel, and the importer applied for a transfer. Nag-apply ng transfer from Port of Manila, papunta ng Cebu. At yung kargamento, ibinababa, it was unloaded by the first vessel, and there was an application to transfer it by the importer. Okay, by the importer, then the importer shall be required to post a GTSB, General Transportation Security Ban or Surety Ban. Yan po yung GTSB. Before the withdrawal of goods from Port of Manila for reloading to this domestic vessel will be allowed by the BOC. Kailangan po ng GTSB. Who shall post the GTSB? Before, it's the common carrier, yung barko po na ito. But nowadays po, it's the importer na po ang nagpo-post ng GTSB. Plus, of course, the continuous underguarding from the time the goods are withdrawn from Port of Manila up to the point that the goods transferred are already in the Port of Cebu. Magkano po ang amount ng GTSB to be posted by the importer? It's 50,000 pesos. Not less than po. Ano po yung 50,000 pesos? In case goods are diverted by this domestic vessel to another place, not in Cebu, there would be a violation. Kasi po, ang pupuntahan po dapat nitong domestic vessel nito, papunta ng Cebu. However, the domestic vessel brought the goods into another place. There is a violation. Ang tawag po din sa violation na yon, it's called diversion. So, ano mangyayari po din sa 50,000 na GTSB? It shall be forfeited by the Bureau of Customs. Aside from the forfeiture of the GTSB, the importer who applied for the withdrawal and transfer from Port of Manila to Port of Cebu shall be also penalized for unauthorized withdrawal. At kasama na po dyan ng criminal liability, civil liability, plus payment of duties and taxes po. So meron na po siyang meron na po nakumpis sa kanyang 50,000 pesos sa GTSB niya. Kasi GTSB is a security that the importer who applied for transfer shall comply with the condition regarding transfer. Ano po yung condition? Thus, this domestic vessel shall be subject to continuous underguarding. Ang binabantayan po ng Customs Guard, yung kargamento na po. And the domestic vessel transporting the goods and the importer, okay, undertakes to transfer these goods upon withdrawal from Port of Manila to Port of Cebu without delay. Dadalhin mo talaga sa Cebu. Okay? Huwag mong dadalhin sa iba at there should be no delay in the movement po. Otherwise, pag dinala mo sa iba or nagkaroon po ng delay and the delay is inexcusable, the BOC goes after the GTSB. Ipe-penalize po siya, yung importer po who applied for the withdrawal and transfer. And the GTSB, pagka po may diversion, automatic po, ipuporfit po ng BOC yan, plus the imposition of penalties provided under the CM5-3A. So, meron ka na kagad na unauthorized withdrawal, mag-withdraw kayo. Dinala mo sa iba. Okay? Aside from that, wala kang binayaran ng duties and taxes, pagbabayarin ka na ng duties and taxes, plus fines, and penalties po. Pag medyo minalas-malas si importer, baka makulong pa. Did you get it? Now, if the withdrawal, ito po barko, vessel to a domestic vessel, or vessel to another domestic, or to another foreign vessel, ganun din po ang requirement. If the transfer is to be made from a foreign vessel to a domestic vessel, yun po ang requirement. If the transfer is to be made from this to another foreign vessel and this second vessel is bound for Cebu, then the requirements are the same. GTSB plus continuous underguarding. But if the transfer from Port of Manila is to be made in the Port of Batangas, normally po, hindi na po gagamitan ng barko yan. Ang gagamitin lang po dyan is a truck. So, from withdrawal of this cargo unloaded here, hindi na po vessel to vessel, or vessel to a domestic vessel, or vessel, foreign vessel to another foreign vessel. Ang withdrawal po, okay, of these goods, i-withdraw po ng truck, that is, the withdrawal is applied by the importer via land transport, dadalhin po ng Port of Batangas. Maliwanag po? Yan po yan. Ito po, kaya po barko sa barko, kasi po, Cebu is an island. Hindi po pwedeng ibiyahin ng land. Kailangan po barko. Naintindihan, Miss Bulaon? Kaya po, vessel to vessel kasi po, ang Port of Cebu is island. You can only reach Cebu either by sea or by air. Maliwanag po, guys? But, insofar as Port of Manila or Port of Batangas, you can reach Port of Batangas by land po. Kaya po, ang normal na transfer mo niyan, hindi na po barko. Normally po, truck to Port of Batangas. Maliwanag po? Pagdating po dito sa Port of Manila, papunta ng Clark, hindi po aeroplano gagamitin. Ang gagamitin lang po is what? Is also a truck. From Port of Manila, ililipat ng Clark. Ganun din po. Okay? MICP, ganun din po. Pagpapunta ng MICP, pagpunta ng Cebu, siguradong barko po. MICP to Port of Batangas, truck lang po ang ginagamit. NAIA to Port of Batangas, ganun din po. NAIA to Port of Cebu, yan, medyo komplikado. Pero I have not yet encountered a situation wherein the transfer is to be made from NAIA to Port of Cebu. Kung ganyan din lang po yan, isasakay din po sa, hindi na po sa aeroplano. Isasakay na rin po yan sa barko papunta ng Cebu. Hindi po aeroplano. Okay? Now, if it is a transfer from NAIA to Clark Customs, truck din po ang gagamitin. In all transfer, without payment of duties and taxes, these are the two basic requirements. GTSB, General Transportation Security Ban or Surety Ban, plus continuous underguarding po. Klaro po, guys? Klaro, guys? Now, remember that these two requirements applies only when the transfer or withdrawal of goods is without payment of duties and taxes. But when the withdrawal and transfer of goods is with payment of duties, taxes, and other charges, hindi na po kailangan to kasi bayad na po siya. Kaya lang po meron ganito dahil hindi pa siya bayad po. Mr. Almete, do you have any question? Yes, kaya nga tinatanong kita eh, kung may tanong ka eh. Yes. Apo. Okay, ganito po yan. If the withdrawal from Port of Manila and the transfer is from one foreign vessel to another foreign vessel, or withdrawal for transfer is from one foreign vessel to domestic vessel, it will depend upon the type of withdrawal. If the withdrawal is transit only, then no payment of duties and taxes insofar as withdrawal of goods from Port of Manila. But if what has been applied, kung ang in-apply po ng importer, withdrawal for transfer or transit from Port of Manila, from foreign vessel to another foreign vessel, wala pong babayaran. Transit po kasi ang in-applyan niya. Application made by the importer is transit from Port of Manila from this vessel to a domestic vessel. Transit po ang in-apply niya. Again, no payment of duties and taxes shall be made after withdrawal. But if what the importer has applied is the withdrawal is for domestic consumption, what would be the answer, Mr. Almete? Yan na po yun. Ibig sabihin po dyan, the determination whether there should be payment of duties and taxes, whether there would be or not, it depends upon the withdrawal. If the withdrawal is for transit, generally, there would be no payment of duties and taxes. But if the withdrawal from Port of Manila is applied by the importer, and according to the importer, it is for domestic consumption, then no more problem, right? Bayad ka ng duties and taxes. Kasi hindi naman for transit ang in-apply mo. What the importer has applied is withdrawal for domestic consumption. Okay. Nakarating na ngayon yun, let's say, nakarating naman yung kargamento sa Cebu ngayon. Nasa Cebu Customs po. Kung ang importer po, meron siyang representative doon, okay, meron din pong representative with importer, the goods may be also withdrawn for transit again, but this time, transit from Port of Cebu or Customs Cebu to PESA, or from Port or Customs Cebu to a CBMW po. Likewise, pag ang withdrawal book from Port of Cebu to a PESA or CBMW, wala pong babayaran. But if the withdrawal from Cebu is transit from Port of Cebu to a PESA, or withdrawal is for transit to a CBMW, wala rin po siyang babayaran yung nag-apply po ng withdrawal for transit. But if the withdrawal is for consumption, no more question. Tama ba, Mr. Romete? Magbabayad ka na. Kasi nga, ang pinagbabasihan dito, what is the basis for the duties and taxes, whether it is to be paid or not, is the type of withdrawal. If the withdrawal is for domestic consumption, either the withdrawal is at the Port of Manila or the Port of Cebu, as long it is for domestic consumption, there would be payment of duties and taxes. But if the withdrawal, either from Port of Manila or Port of Cebu, is for transit to either pag dito, papunta ng dito, wala pong babayaran. Pag dito po winidraw, papunta po ng CBMW or PESA po, wala rin pong babayaran. Naintindihan ba? Did you get it, guys? Guys, did you get it? Again, guys, yung unang part po na in-lecture ko, I forgot to record it. But don't worry. Uulitin ko naman po ito sa 3B. Then, I will make sure na i-record ko. Pag na-record ko po, ipo-forward ko sa inyo, then please do the reconciliation kung saan yung hindi ko na i-record. Tignan nyo na lang doon sa 3B recording ko. Right? Okay, class? Maliwanag po. Maliwanag po. Now, under 602, it provides for the condition of withdrawal for transit po. Ayan ha. Kung withdrawal for consumption, wala na itong dalawa na ito. Kasi binayaran ko na yung duties and taxes ko ako importer. But if my withdrawal is for transit, there should be GTSB and customs underguarding. Okay? Ano po yung kondisyon ng GTSB, Miss Gambionsa? Such delivery of goods, yan. Such security, please continue. Miss Gambionsa. Okay, so dito po, i-release po ng customs officer. Miss Bulaon, Mr. Almete, pakinggan ninyo maigi, no? A customs officer shall be releasing these goods withdrawn for transit or transfer to Port of Cebu. Kung meron po magre-release, meron po tatanggap na customs officer. Merong customs officer sa Port of Manila na magre-release po niyan at meron po ditong tatanggap na customs officer. So kaya po, pagka ganyan po, maaalala nyo na naman po itong, what is this, Miss Bulaon? O yan po, covered po siya ng transfer note. Kaya po kailangan may transfer note to make sure goods withdrawn from Port of Manila shall be delivered to the customs officer at the Port of Cebu, and the transfer note shall be acknowledged by the customs officer who received the transit goods. Did you get it? That's the mechanic of transfer or transit. Okay? Kaya po may transfer note para siguradong yung customs officer na nag-release ng goods for transit or transfer to Port of Cebu will be really delivered the customs officer of Port of Cebu. O, i-acknowledge siya. Pag i-acknowledge siya, pinirmahan na po ni officer or COP, ibabalik po yung transfer note kay customs officer na nag-release ng transfer. So, Ganito po yan. Mr. Almete. So, dito sa Port of Manila, magkakaroon po ng GTSB. Meron pong customs guard that will conduct the customs underguarding. Ang may hawak po ng transfer note is the one who will underguard that goods. Kung ikaw ang gwardiya, Miss Gabyonsa, sasamahan mo at may dala kang transfer note, at ikaw mismong customs guard ang magpapareceive kay customs officer at the Port of Cebu. Maliwanag po. Now, if Miss Gabyonsa is the customs guard and Miss Bulaon is the customs officer who authorized the release, and Mr. Almete is the customs officer who will acknowledge receipt of the transit goods, Miss Bulaon, habang hindi pa nakakarating yung goods at hindi pa na-acknowledge ni Almete at the Port of Cebu, medyo kakaba. Yes, kasi po, hanggat yung transfer note is not yet acknowledged by the customs officer who is authorized to receive the transit goods, it's in the responsibility of Miss Bulaon. But once the transfer note has been received by the customs officer of the Port of Cebu, makakahinga na siya. Kasi po, ang responsibility naman po ngayon ng kargamento, it's no longer with Bulaon, but it's with the customs officer Almete. Ikaw ngayon ang may hawak ng bola. Lalo na pag tinanggap mo na. Tapos na ang responsibilidad ni Miss Bulaon. Okay. Sir, ano naman po ang responsibilidad ni Miss Gabyonsa as customs guard? Samahan niya po yung kargamento from Port of Manila to Port of Cebu po. Naintindihan, Mr. Almete? Ikaw naman, Mr. Almete, bago mo tanggapin, anong gagawin mo? Before you acknowledge receipt of the transit goods, what are you going to do? Of course, you conduct the necessary spot checking. Kasi baka mamaya sinabi dun, 3 pakete, dumating lang sa'yo, 2. Tatanggapin mo ba yung transfer note, Mr. Almete? Of course, kung ano yung sinabi na itatransfer, Miss Bulaon, sabi mo 3 pakete, kailangan ang ipare-receive ni Miss Gabyonsa who conducted the underguarding shall also be 3 packages. Pag nakita ni Mr. Almete, transfer note is 3 packages o 3 containers at dumating lang po 2, may problema itong 2 na ito, si Bulaon at si Gabyonsa. Kasi kung ako ang customs officer, katulad ni Almete na magre-receive, nakalagay po sa transfer note 3 pakete. And yet, 2 lang po ang dala nyo. There is a problem. Hindi ko po tatanggapin yan. Pag hindi tinanggap yan ni Mr. Almete, the responsibility still with Miss Bulaon and Gabyonsa. May problema na ba itong 2 na ito pagka nangyari yung gano'n? Let's say, 3 container, 2 lang ang dumating. Hindi tatanggapin ni Mr. Almete yan. May problema na ba kayo? Miss Bulaon and Miss Gabyonsa? Yes po, may problema na kayo. Hindi lang po kayo ang may problema. Sino pang may problema, Gabyonsa? Miss Gabyonsa! Yes, importer po. Kung domestic vessel po na biyahe, may problema rin po siya. Paliliwanag niya, why only 2? But in the TL, it's 3. What happened? Contract naman po ang nagdala, yung tracking company, may problema rin po. So therefore, marami pong komplikasyon at implication if there is irregularity of what has been withdrawn and what has been delivered. Kasi si Almete, hindi niya tatanggapin yan. Kulang eh. Kung ikaw ang district collector ng Port of Manila, Bulaon, ang sabi mo 3 container. Pagdating dito, dumating, hinarap yung kargamento ni District Collector Almete, 2 lang po ito. What happened to the one? Hindi ko po pipirmahan yan. What happened to the 1 container? Hindi ko pipirmahan yan. Tatawagan ni Almete si Collector Bulaon, Miss Bulaon or Collector Bulaon. Yung dala ng gwardiya mo, 2 lang nakalagay dito sa transfer note. 3. And marami na pong nangyaring ganyan na transfer po or transit po. Minsan, hindi ko lang alam kung saan nangyari yun. 100 containers bound for transit from one customs office to another customs office. Yan po, for Port of Manila to Port of Cebu. You know what happened to the 100? Wala pong dumating. Nag-disappear yung 100 containers. Walang binayaran duties and taxes yun kasi transit. Ewan ko kung anong nangyari sa investigation na yun. But, nag-magic po. 100 containers disappear. Guys, klaro, kaya po kayo, pagdating ng araw, Miss Bulaon, Camotea, Gutierrez, Pausto, Almuete. Andiyan ba si Mr. Karandang? Nandiyan ba? Okay. Be careful on transit or transshipment. Pagka po yun nawala at hindi po tinanggap ni Mr. Almete yung TL, si Miss Bulaon ang may problema. Pag tinanggap po ni Mr. Almete at bigla rin po nawala yung 100 containers, wala problema si Bulaon. Ang may problema naman si Mr. Almete. I hope you're getting me, guys. It's a complicated one. But transit is one procedure that is allowed by the Bureau of Customs. Kaya kayo, Miss Bulaon, Karandang, Gutierrez, Almete, when the importer applies for transfer, withdrawal for transfer, withdrawal for transit, be careful on this. Baka po malusutan kayo. I hope you got my message clear. Be careful. Kasi po, as future customs broker, baka po ma-assign kayo na kayo po ang magre-release at kayo ang tatanggap. Ms. Gabionza, I am not asking you to be a customs guard. Sample ko lang yon. Pwede namang si Ms. Gutierrez. Kaya lang, ikaw yung natapat. Ikaw yung guardia. Okay? So, kasi po, ang customs guard po is a clerical position. Naintindihan? So, sample ko lang kasi wala akong makita. Si Mr. Karandang, wala naman dyan. May mukhang, kapapasok mo na ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay. So, therefore, what are the condition? Ito po yung condition of the GTSB. Such security shall ensure that the goods shall ensure the complete and immediate. Complete. Kaya po sinabi kong complete. Pag sinabi dun 3, dapat makarating din 3. Tama ba, Mr. Almete? What do you mean by immediate delivery? Mr. Karandang, what do you mean by immediate? Yung complete po, pag sinabi mong 3 yung winidraw mo, 3 rin yung i-deliver mo. What do you mean by immediate delivery? Oh, no, hindi fast delivery. The delivery to be made by the trucking company or by the domestic vessel shall be without delay. Pag withdraw, dadaling kagad. Okay? That is immediate delivery of the goods to the customs officer assigned at the receiving end. Dadalhin mo kagad doon. Hindi pwedeng, ayan po, Port of Manila, papunta ng Port of Batangas, sasabihin ng driver ng truck, daan muna tayo sa girlfriend ko sa Laguna. Hindi pwedeng ganun po. Pag winidraw po ng trucking company from Port of Manila, ang isa po sa kondisyon dyan is the delivery by the trucking company, if what has been withdrawn is 3 packages, it is also 3 packages that will be delivered at the Port of Batangas. Contract lang po. And another is immediate delivery. If the withdrawal is from Port of Manila for delivery to Port of Batangas, kailangan po tuloy-tuloy. Wala pong pupuntang iba. Hindi po pipeding from Port of Manila, yung driver po ng truck. Kaya ko po sinasabi sa inyo, kasi po as future customs broker, kayo po ang nag-apply ng withdrawal for transit or transfer on behalf of the importer. Kayo po ang mag-hire ng trucking. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay, so kung kayo po ang nag-apply as the representative of the importer, yung importer po, hindi naman siya makikialam doon sa delivery. Since you were hired by the importer as their customs broker, it is the customs broker who shall apply for the withdrawal for transit. So ikaw rin po ang kukuha ng trucking company na magta-transfer from Port of Manila to Port of Batangas. Pagka po nailabas mo na, na-withdraw mo na, bibilinan mo ngayon yung truck ng driver. Mr. Driver, pag withdraw po, please immediately transport it to the receiving end. And the receiving end, releasing end is Port of Manila. Receiving end is Port of Batangas. Wala pong delay, Mr. Trucker, Mr. Driver po. Okay? Now, another requirements is the payment of pertinent customs charges and expenses and other transfer costs. What does it mean, Ms. Gabionsa? Mr. Karandang, what does it mean? Ano po ibig sabihin nun? Is that equivalent to payment of duties and taxes, Mr. Karandang? Ang tanong ko po, pakibasa mga, so, subject to the condition that the importer withdrawing the goods for transfer or transit shall ensure the complete and immediate delivery of the goods to the customs officer who is authorized to receive the transit goods, right? Another condition, so merong GTSB, merong customs underguarding, okay? And the GTSB is subject to the condition of complete and immediate delivery, right, Ms. Gamotea? And another condition that is required by Section 602 is that the importer who applied for transfer or transit shall be paying pertinent customs charges and expenses and other transfer costs. Ano po yun? Ano po yun? No, it's not. Mr. Almete, sabi ko, it's not. Kasi po, Mr. Karandang, withdrawal is transit. O anong rule, Mr. Almete, pagka transit or transfer? Ba't sinasabi ni Mr. Karandang, payment of pertinent customs, charges, and expenses and other transfer costs? Ang sabi niya, bayad ka daw ng duties and taxes. Mr. Karandang, wala po. Ang babayaran lang po is the cost of transferring it. Customs expenses, fees, and charges, okay, incidental to the transfer of goods. Si Ms. Gabionsa, Mr. Karandang, sasama dun sa domestic vessel. Di ba? Babantayan niya. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Or kung from Port of Manila to Port of Batangas, sasama ba si Ms. Gabionsa? Oh. Sino mamamasahe at sino magpapakain kay Gabyonsa? Eh mukhang malakas pa naman ito. Of course, yun po lang ang babayaran niya. Plus the processing of the transit permit. Plus payment of expenses in the transfer. So si Ms. Gabyonsa, hindi ang BOC, sisweldoan siya. Pero yung gastos ni Ms. Gabyonsa in underguarding the goods, it is not for the account of the BOC. Of course, it is for the account of the importer. Wala pong duties and taxes na pinag-uusapan, Mr. Karandang. Ang pinag-uusapan lang po, incidental expenses in the incurred or to be incurred by the Bureau of Customs, not for the account of the BOC, but for the account of the importer. Did you get it, Mr. Karandang? Okay? Maliwanag po ba? O, kung Mr. Almete, kung ang transfer po is truck to from Port of Manila to Port of Batangas, syempre may kasama si Mr. Almete kung siya ang driver. Yung helper. Tapos sinamahan ka ni Ms. Gabyonsa as Customs Guard, Mr. Almete. Saan mo pa uupuin si Ms. Customs Guard Gabyonsa, Mr. Almete? Sa harap? Anong sa harap? Doon sa may harapan, doon sa may unahan? Baka masagasaan yung tao. Saan banda sa loob? Ikaw, Ms. Gabyonsa, kung ikaw sasama, babantayan mo yun. Let's say, kailangan samahan mo talaga. Ano sabi? Ano daw? Nakasama, hindi ko marinig. Di ba, Mr. Karandang, ilan ang kayang isakay na pasahero ng truck? Tatlo. Tama na po, tatlo po. Nasa kaliwa po yung driver, tapos nasa kanan po yung helper. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Siguro naman nakikita mo yung mga delivery truck ng McDonald's. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Pag wala pong rider, dalawa lang sila, driver and helper. Mr. Almete, saan mo siya paupuin, si Ms. Gabyonsa? Oh, sa gitna. Talaga? Sa bagay, wala naman siyang ibang uupuan, talagang sa gitna. Ikaw naman, Ms. Gabyonsa, wala kang ibang option. Pag pinasama ka, doon ka sa gitna. Okay? But in the actual practice, class. O yan, baka may sabihin ninyo. Si Sir, sinasabi niya, sinasamahan daw. In the actual practice class, minsan po, yung gwardiya po, hindi na po sumasama. Sabi ko nga po sa inyo, pag first time applicant of transit, normally po, yung gwardiya po na naka-assign sumasama. Second time, siya pa rin yung nag-apply ng transit or transfer. Okay. Sasamahan pa rin para siguradong makarating. Pangatlo, ikaw na naman. Hindi na ako sasama. Kasi bakit? Kilala mo na siya. Did you get my point, Mr. Karandang? Almete? Ngayon, ikaw, Mr. Driver, Almete, pag nauhaw yan, bibigyan mo ng yung bottled water, bibigyan ko ng bottled water yan. Katulad ko, pagka nauhaw ako, binibilan ako ng bottled water. Bumibili pala ako, hindi pala ako binibilan. Okay? Naintindihan, Miss Bulaon? Choppy, pagka yung sinasabi ko, bottled water, nagiging choppy. Ang galing naman ng internet ninyo. Pagkagagastos kayo, choppy. Pag hindi kayo gagastos, ang klaro. Grabe naman itong mga terjit talaga. Next, please. Let's now move on to the next paragraph. Ms. Gabyonsa. Teka muna. Sandali muna, Ms. Gabyonsa. Mr. Karandang, ikaw ang driver. At si Mr. Almuete ang helper mo. Ang customs guard mo, si Mami Junisha. Puro kanto ang mukha. Saan mo paupuin? Sa gitna. Ha? Kaya nga, yun ang customs guard na art. Mukhang pangit eh. Art to pangit eh. Pero kung ang customs guard, Mr. Karandang, kamukha ni Miss Bulaon, Miss Gabyonsa, o kamukha ni Ann Curtis, teka muna, dito ka sa tabi ko, Miss, baka maano ka dyan. Diba? Pero nakasimple, Mr. Almete, pag ikaw ang helper, ha, baka ma'am niya, siksikin mo si Gabyonsa, si Miss Bulaon, ha? Huwag ganun. Customs guard dyan, baka ireklamo ka. Okay? Next paragraph, Miss Gabyonsa. Anong arrival? Approval. Ang laki-laki dyan. Ako nga, walang salamin. Nakita ko, anong upon arrival? Sabihin, i-approve lang yung adjustment pag dumating si Finance Secretary. Ikaw naman, Miss Gabyonsa, magbabasa na lang eh. Hindi, talagang mali eh. Katulad ka rin ng isa nung live animals. Anong live animal? Baka live. Pakipaliwanag mo yan, Mr. Karandang. Yes, yun na po yun. Yung 50,000 po, pwedeng itaas. Para simple. Naintindihan mo? The security may be adjusted. Normally po, ang adjustment po pataas. May be adjusted by the Commissioner of Customs upon arrival of the, arrival ba o approval? Approval po pala. Okay? So, pwedeng from 50, pwede bang gawing 100,000, Miss Gabyonsa? Pwede bang gawing from 50,000 to 1 million pesos, Miss Gabyonsa? Yes, kasi po nakalagay dyan, adjustment or adjusted. Meaning, if it is to be adjusted, it's going up, not going down. Maliwanag? Maliwanag, guys? Okay, let's now move on to section 603. Customs transshipment. Maliwanag po. Pakibasa nga, Mr. Asan ba si Gutierrez? Gutierrez, are you still there? Sige na. Okay. Ganito po. Mr. Almete, withdrawal of goods for consumption, bayad. Tama, Mr. Almete? Withdrawal of goods for transit or transfer, no payment of duties and taxes, Mr. Almete. Withdrawal of goods for transshipment, again, no payment of duties and taxes. Now, how would you define transshipment, Ms. Gabyonsa? Patay. Mr. Karandang, definition of transshipment. Sige, pakibasa. Refers to a customs procedure under control from the importing means to the exporting means. Meaning, from one importing vessel to the exporting vessel. Did you get it, Ms. Gabyonsa? Okay, ano po yung nakalagay dyan? Refers to the customs procedure under customs control. Ano po yung under control? Under customs control, continuous underguarding po. Refers to the customs procedure under customs control from the importing goods, from the importing means of transport to the exporting means of transport within the area of one office. One office means one customs office. Let's say, Para makita ninyo. Yung kargamento or the vessel arrived at the Port of Manila. And all cargoes here are not really destined for unloading at the Port of Manila. Instead, the cargoes loaded which arrive at the Port of Manila are bound for, let's say, Italy. Yan. Italy, China po. Yan. Ililipat po yung kargamento from this vessel to another exporting. Ito po yung importing vessel. Ito yung IB. Ito po yung EB. Nakikita po? Ay, hindi nakikita. Medyo, ayun o. This is the importing vessel, IB. And this is the exporting vessel. Nakikita, Mr. Karandang? Okay, o yan. This is the first vessel, the importing vessel. And this is the exporting vessel. Goods are to be withdrawn from this and to be reloaded to the exporting vessel. Okay? And the goods are to be transported from Port of Manila to China. So ano po ang requirements? Ang nakalagay po dyan, transshipment refers to the customs procedure under customs control from the importing means of transport to the exporting means of transport within the area of one office. Ano po ba yung office na pinag-uusapan natin? Port of Manila po. Okay? Which is the office of both importation and exportation. Asan po yung both importation office? Ito po, Port of Manila. Saan po manggagaling yung kargamento? Port of Manila. In other words, the office of importation and the office of exportation is the same. And that is Port of Manila. Maliwanag po guys, yan po ang requirement in a transshipment. Did you get it? Did you get it? Oh, binago ko naman po ang sitwasyon. Hindi po sa Port of Manila. Naiya po. Okay, naiya. Ito po yung aeroplano nag-import. Ito naman po yung aeroplano na mag-export. Within. Pwede rin po yan. Ang tawag po dyan, if goods from this importing aircraft is to be reloaded to the exporting aircraft, ang tawag po doon is transshipment po. Maliwanag po ba? Tandaan ninyo, in either case or in both cases, when there is a transfer of goods from one vessel to another vessel or from one aircraft to another aircraft, it is always subject to underguarding or continuous underguarding. May babayaran man duties and taxes? Wala po. Only the cost of transfer and processing of the permit to transfer po. Next, Gutierrez. Would there be also a lodgement of goods declaration? The answer is yes. And what kind of goods declaration is to be lodged, Mr. Almete? What kind of goods declaration? Consumption entry, transit, or transshipment po? Doon po sa within the Philippines, normally po, ang ipinapile po or nilalodge po, payment of duties and taxes, consumption entry po. Pagka po transfer or transit within the Philippines, transit po. If the transfer is from one importing vessel to exporting vessel located in the same one customs district, ang ipapile pong goods declaration is transshipment po. And whenever a transshipment is filed by the importer or the exporter, the goods declaration of transshipment shall be accompanied by shipping documents and other evidence as required by the Bureau of Customs. Tandaan niyo yan. Baka mamaya pagdating ng araw, meron kayong client na importer or exporter that you will be asked to lodge and process a transshipment. Ang transit po, within the Philippines lang po ililipat. Maliwanag po, Mr. Almete, ang outright exportation po is similar to a transshipment, Mr. Almete. Do you agree, Mr. Almete? Okay, good. So, in Section 603, again, no payment of duties and taxes, but the importer or exporter shall be required to lodge the required goods declaration, and that goods declaration that I am referring to is customs transshipment. And that customs transshipment shall be accompanied by commercial invoice, shipping documents, and other proof or evidence as required by the Bureau of Customs. Okay, meron po siyang supporting documents. Ito po yung customs transshipment as goods declaration. Ilalodge mo, i-attach mo yung supporting documents po. Such as the bill of lading, commercial invoice, and of course, when you lodge a customs transshipment, you have to fill out what are those information. Kaya later on in the customs documentation, I will teach you how to accomplish a goods declaration. Maliwanag, guys? Next paragraph. Okay. If the nature of the goods or if the shipping document says or indicates that what has been imported or what has been transported by the importing vessel is not really bound into the Philippines, but it is bound for exportation to China and to be reloaded to another means or vessel, importing vessel, exporting vessel. Guys, nakikita ba yun? Importing vessel, exporting vessel. Goods are on board here, ililipat po dito. Bakit? Because the goods are not really destined into the Philippines, but they are destined for transshipment or for exportation to China. Pwede po ba yun? That is allowed. Okay? Now, kung kailan dumating ito, dumating yan ng December 5, 2020, Miss Gabyonsa, December 5. Birthday ko yun. Happy birthday yun. Pinapaalala ko lang. Okay. 30 days from date of arrival or 30 days from December 5, the exporting vessel should depart. Aalis ka dapat. Or within 30 days, the exporting vessel who shall be shipping, transporting the goods transported from the importing vessel shall be required to leave or depart the Philippines to China. 30 days lang po ang ibinibigay. Paano po pag hindi po siya na export or na-ship out within 30 days, of course, may penalty ka. So pagka ganyan po, Mr. Almete, Mr. Karandang, hindi po umalis yung exporting vessel within 30 days. Kayo ang customs, anong tingin mo? Ba, walang sumagot ah. Oh, Mr. De Guzman, ikaw pala, nandiyan ka pala. Ba? Oh, kung ikaw, let's say 30 days lang ang binibigay sa'yo. Ikaw yung exporting vessel. Okay? Sino ba nakipag-usap sa iyo ni export yan? Of course, the importer or the exporter, right? Mr. De Guzman. 30 days na, hindi pa rin umaalis si exporting vessel. What would you think if you were the BOC? Ano isipin mo? Mr. Karandang, yun. Tagal eh. Yes. Okay, sabihin niya, ang ano niyan, ang normal diyan, if the exporting vessel is required to leave, okay, or to leave and to depart Port of Manila within 30 days from date of the approval or from date of arrival, kung kailan dumating si importing, within 30 days, the exporting vessel has to leave together with the cargos. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? The 30 days has already lapsed, but the exporting vessel has not yet left. Kung ako ang BOC, hindi na i-export yan. O kung hindi na i-export yan, ibababa na yan sa Port of Manila. Okay? Yung importer po, kung i-withdraw niya for consumption, bayad ka. Kung yung importer po, i-withdraw niya for transit, yes, that is allowed. Okay lang. So, yun po ang epekto. Siyempre, kung hindi mo nasunod yung 30 days, isipin ng BOC, hindi na i-export yan. Exporting vessel, ibaba mo na yung kargamento dito sa Port of Manila. Then, penalize the importer or exporter for non-compliance of the 30 days. Tapos, kung yung importer po or exporter po i-withdraw from Port of Manila for consumption, then pay the duties and taxes or withdraw it for transit or transfer. Maliwanag? And that 30 days is extendable for how many days? Ms. Gamotea? Gamotea, you. Mr. Karandang, sinabi ba niya kung ilang days ang extension after the expiration or before the expiration of 30 days? Sinabi ba niya? Wala po. Now, give me one reason why, Mr. Karandang, it's already, or 30 days is already approaching, but the exporting vessel has no plan to depart. Bakit kaya? Miss Bulaon, bakit kaya? Hindi maka-guess. Miss Bulaon. Miss Gutierrez. Yes po, sira po yung barko. Meron pong diferensya yung barko, yung exporting vessel. And the, damage or the vessel needs repair is a valid reason for extension. Klaro, Mr. Karandang? Yes po. So, ibig sabihin po dyan, the extension or the number of days for extension will depend upon the reason why it cannot leave prior to 30 days. Kung medyo matatagal lang po yung repair, then hanggang doon po ang extension. And the extension, since the extension did not mention for how many days, maliwanag po? So it will depend upon the reasons po. Kung valid po yung reason at medyo magtatagal po yung repair, that would be the length of extension. Klaro, Mr. Almete? So therefore, wala pong sinasabing 30 days extendable to another 30 days. The extension shall always depend the reason why the exporting vessel cannot leave or cannot depart. Did you get it? Maliwanag po? And it is the Commissioner of Customs who can allow the extension. And ano ang sinasabi, Ms. Bulaon, regarding extension? When you ask for extension, I know that, Ms. Gutierrez. Ms. Gutierrez, when you ask for extension, when do you file it? After or before? Ganun lang po yung tanong, Bulaon. Naintindihan mo, Ms. Bulaon? Ano po yung before or after? Before the expiration or before the 30 days. After, there is nothing to extend. Did you get it? Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? So, whenever a person asks for extension, please, that person should do it before the expiration. Di ba lahat? Ms. Gabionza, maliwanag. Okay, 604, Mr. De Guzman. Anong compromising? Comprising. Okay, sandali lang po, paliliwanag ko. When goods are brought into the Philippines, just like that, no? Importing vessel arrives at the port of Manila. And according to the owner of the vessel carrying cargoes, and that vessel arrived in Manila, or the importer, according to the owner of the vessel, or the owner or the importer of those cargoes on board the importing vessel, they are bound for re-exportation. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman talaga ibababa sa Pilipinas or sa Port of Manila. Actually, they are bound for exportation or immediate re-exportation. Papayagan ba ng BOC na hindi ibaba sa Port of Manila? The answer is no. Kasi po, when this importing vessel arrives at the Port of Manila, the presumption of the Port of Manila customs is this: the goods are to be unloaded here. Now, if the owner of the vessel or the owner of the imported goods loaded in that importing vessel can show or submit evidence that these goods are not really destined to Port of Manila or into the Philippines, then that would be the time that the Bureau of Customs, Port of Manila, would allow non-unloading. I-export pala yan. Padadala pala sa ibang bansa. Now, if you were the importer, Mr. Karandang, how can you convince that the goods in that vessel, importing vessel, you okay, have imported are not really destined to Port of Manila. Paano mo siya ipoprove, Mr. Karandang? Yes, how can you prove now? Kasi pag hindi mo na i-prove yan, sasabihin ng Bureau of Customs, Port of Manila, i-unload niyo yan. But if you can prove, and you are the importer, how can you prove to the customs that, oy sir, hindi po destined sa inyo yan. This is bound for exportation. How can you prove that? Yes, sir. Yun lang po. If you were the importer of those goods that is subject for immediate re-exportation, you can prove and satisfy the Port of Manila Customs by submitting any of these documents. Now, 1, bill of lading, showing that the goods are not destined to Philippines but destined to other country. Commercial invoice, showing again the same info. Manifest or cargo manifest or other satisfactory evidence showing that the goods is not really destined into the Philippines but destined into another country. Maliwanag po ba? Now, pag isang pakete po, one package po, ang nandoon dun sa importing vessel, yes, it can be the subject of immediate re-exportation. Maliwanag, guys? Maliwanag po? But if there are two packages, pwede po yung isa bound for Port of Manila, pwede po yung isa bound for re-exportation. Pwede po ba yun? The answer is yes. But if it is less than one package, it cannot be. Ang sabi po dyan, not less than one package. So po kung ganito po, no, para makita ninyo, ano ba yung sinasabi? Nakikita kami sa Karandang? Okay, one package po. Kung dalawa po, okay, 1, 2. Yung isa, bound for Manila or bound for Philippines, yung isa po, bound for China for exportation. Okay? Maliwanag po? Kaya, pwede ba yung dalawa? Mr. Karandang, both package, pwede ba? For re-exportation. In whole or in part. Pag sinabi pong in whole, yung dalawa. Pag sinabi pong in part, pwede yung isa lang. Did you get it? What the BOC or what the provision of the CM3A does not allow one package, ito pong parte na to for immediate re-exportation, yung parte na ito for Port of Manila. Naintindihan? Maliwanag na. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa pwedeng yung 25% for consumption or for immediate re-exportation. Isa kung isa. Isa for exportation or isa for Port of Manila. Hindi pa pwedeng yung kalahati lang ang papunta ng China, yung kalahati lang papunta ng Pilipinas. Did you get it, guys? Now, again, if the importer applies for immediate exportation of goods from that importing vessel, again, to make sure that the goods are not to be unloaded. Sabi mo kasi importer, for immediate exportation ka. Dapat ipadala mo sa ibang bansa. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay. The Bureau of Customs, when the importer applies for the immediate re-exportation of goods transported by the importing vessel, the importer shall be required to post a security to make sure what you applied for immediate exportation shall be really followed and complied. Okay? Ms. Trishan Garcia. Wala na akong kausap pa. Ay, Di Guzman. Yes? Yes, of course. Okay, ulitin ko po. Dito po, dalawa pwedeng mangyari. Okay? Merong importing vessel, merong exporting vessel. Tama po ba, Mr. Karandang? Meron pong importing aircraft, meron pong exporting aircraft. Tama po ba, Mr. Karandang? Sino po ang mamimili ng importing vessel or importing aircraft? Hindi po. Ang importing vessel po, yung manggagaling sa ibang bansa. Hindi po, wala pong importing aircraft po, manggagaling sa ibang bansa. Yung lalabas po at kung po saan isasakay, yung goods for immediate exportation, sino po ang mamimili ngayon nun? Sir Karandang, I'm asking you. Ang tinatanong ko, exporting vessel or exporting aircraft, sino mamimili? Yung importing aircraft, importing vessel, walang business si Mr. Collector. Yes. Kasi po, saan ba manggagaling importing aircraft or importing vessel? Of course, in a foreign country, walang control. Si district doon, ang control ni district, yung paalis na aeroplano or barko. And when there is an exporting vessel or exporting aircraft to be chosen or to be selected or to be assigned, okay, by the district collector of customs. So, from one importing vessel, ililipat sa exporting vessel. Tama ba, Karandang? Ang mamimili po dun sa exporting vessel, district. From one importing aircraft, ililipat sa exporting aircraft. Ang mamimili dun sa exporting aircraft, district collector of customs. Tama po ba? Tama po ba? While waiting for the approval of the customs transshipment, kasi kailangan po, bago po umalis si exporting vessel or si exporting aircraft, there must be an approved customs transshipment for immediate re-exportation. Tama ba, Mr. Karanda? Hindi po pwedeng umalis yung isa, exporting aircraft or vessel, without the approved transshipment. So ngayon, while the exporting vessel or exporting aircraft, okay, is waiting for the approval of the customs transshipment, ano po ang magiging papel ng barko at ng eroplano which will export the goods? Ano po ang tawag sa kanya? Mr. Karandang. Ms. Gutierrez, ano po ang magiging tawag doon sa exporting vessel or exporting aircraft that is waiting for the approval of the transshipment? Pakikita ko na naman sa inyo para makita ninyo. Vessel importing po. Kagarandang, tama ba? Ililipat po dito sa exporting vessel. Tama po ba? And while the exporting vessel is waiting for the approval of the transshipment permit, okay, the exporting vessel shall serve as a warehouse po. Nakalagay po dyan, no? Tingnan niyo po. Basahin nga. Ayan, nahirap siya. Ano sabi? O, direct transfer po. Kasi po, hindi na po winabas sa ground. Tama po ba? From importing vessel, transfer po sa exporting vessel. Kaya po ang tawag doon, direct transfer, and the exporting vessel shall be used constructively as a warehouse po. Did you get it po? Ganun lang po yun. Yan naman ang hirap sa inyo. Lahat na lang inaasa nyo sa mentor nyo eh. Next please. Miss, asan na si Bulaon? Nandiyan pa ba si Miss Bulaon? Unless, okay, sandali lang po, sandali lang po. Pag nakalagay po sa bill of lading, commercial invoice, manifest, or other evidence or satisfactory evidence na that the goods arriving in the Philippines are bound for exportation, papayagan po. But if the invoice, bill of lading, or airway bill, or manifest, or other satisfactory evidence do not show that the goods are not for immediate re-exportation, hindi po papayagang makalabas. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Paki-cite mo nga yung rule na yon, Mr. Karandang. Unless pag nakalagay po doon sa dokumento na po, siya po ay for immediate re-exportation or transshipment to another country, hindi po papayagan. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Mr. Karandang, tama po ba? Kailangan po nakalagay either saan? Bill of lading, airway bill, commercial invoice, or manifest, or other satisfactory evidence. Pag hindi po nakalagay doon, then the BOC will think it is bound for the Philippines. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Next paragraph, no exportation. Ibig sabihin po, nakalagay po sa bill of lading. Yes, that is for immediate re-exportation. But it does not necessarily mean that you will be immediately allowed to re-export it. Pag wala po nakalagay for re-exportation, ay hindi ka papayagan. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Pag may nakalagay, it does not necessarily mean that you can already or immediately re-export it. You have to comply first with, okay, kailangan mag-apply ka for re-exportation. You file a goods declaration, either for immediate re-exportation or for transshipment po. And your application or your lodgement of goods declaration shall be also accompanied by documents proving and showing that the goods are not really bound for the Philippines but for the exportation abroad or for transshipment. And the Bureau of Customs will ask you or will ask the person applying for transshipment or immediate exportation to post a sufficient security or surety. That in case of non-re-exportation, you have to pay the duties and taxes for. In other words, the security shall be equivalent to, okay, duties, taxes, and other charges due on the goods. Okay? And if re-exportation is allowed by approving the transshipment or entry for re-exportation, The one who applied for exportation of the goods to a foreign country shall submit now a proof or evidence that the goods has already landed where it is bound for exportation. Maliwanag po. Yan po yung requirement. Okay? Kasi po, pag nag-post ka ng ban at hindi po nag-post ka ng ban, ano yung condition sa ban? You have to re-export it. Okay? To prove re-exportation, you have to prove that the goods are already in the foreign country where it is destined for exportation. Right, Mr. Karanda? Now, upon arrival of the goods in the country of re-exportation, let's say kung China, kukuha ka ng proof of landing ng goods. Tama po ba? Then after getting or securing the copy of the proof of landing in China, bibigay sa'yo, then you apply now for the cancellation of the re-export ban. Maliwanag ba? Kasi as long the ban is uncancelled, it is the liability of the person who applied for immediate re-exportation. However, if after exportation, a certificate of landing or proof of landing of the goods that the goods has already landed in the country of re-exportation, kukunin importer yon or kukunin man ni exporter yon, ipapasa kayo sa customs. Ngayon, the customs now will now release or cancel the ban. Maliwanag po? Okay, good. So, Mr. Almete, do you have any question? Yes, question please. Okay, Mr. De Guzman, question please. Miss Garcia, do you have any question? Carol Garcia. Miss Esposo. Miss Madriaga. Mr. De Guzman. Miss Pausto. Miss Luna, do you have any question? Mr. Almete, ako may question ako. Mr. Almete. Mr. Almete, I have a question. Kung si Miss Magsino, do you have any question, Miss Magsino? Mr. Almete, kung si Miss Magsino ang customs guard, saan mo pa upuin yan, Mr. Almete? Oh? Sure ka, doon mo lang pa upuin, baka hindi kayo magkasya doon, ha? Okay. Bellarmino, do you have any question? Gumopo. Miss Customs Guard. Gabionsa. Oh, yes. Alam ko. Yes, ma'am. May question po kayo? Miss Lakatan. Okay. Miss Malyari. Miss Rowena Dizon. Mr. Oh, wag mo kong sigawan. Nagmumukha akong tanga eh. Okay. Miss Abong. Kangkin. Okay. If you don't have any question or questions, then you are dismissed. And I will continue my lecture this afternoon if I can have a copy of the goods declaration for consumption entry. Pero kung wala po, I will be giving you something na gagawin nyo. Pero tingin ko, makukuha ko namang makapag-produce ng copy. So, if you don't have any question, you are dismissed. And again, good morning po. Kanina hindi ko na ano eh. Di ba may part 2 pa naman, meron pa naman susunod. Pwede na nilang ano yan. Pause. Ayun. Guys, magandang hapon sa inyo. Guys. Guys. Miss Garcia. Miss Dizon. Miss Magzino. Yes. Pakilakas, di marinig eh. Mr. Karandang. Mr. Guzman. Camacho. Camacho. Bulaon. Bulaon. Gabion. Gabionsa. Bulaon, anong ulam? Ano yun? Pakbit. Pakbit ka na lang. Mr. Karandang. Miss Luna. Madriaga, Esposo, Belarmino, Gutierrez, Miss Banana, Kangkin, okay. Miss Gabionsa, do you have a copy now of a blank goods declaration? Miss Gabionsa, tinatanong kita, Miss Gutierrez, meron na. Yung isa naman, Miss Gutierrez, meron ka ng blanco, meron pang laman. Tama po ba? Very good. No, diba? Ganda, di ba? Meron kang hawak na blanco at meron kang isang accomplish. Right? Miss Bulaon, Miss Gutierrez, Mr. Karandang? Okay, di ba? Nakita ninyo ha, mayroong blanco at may laman. Di ba? Baka may sabihin ninyo, hindi ko kayo binibigyan ng kopya. Ayan, ha? Wala na kayo reklamo. Tama? Now, doon tayo mag-concentrate sa blank. Guys. Okay? Now, every area or every box of this blank single administrative document or SAD or goods declaration is subject to information that is to be contained or that is to be written or that is to be placed. Miss Bulaon, box number 1, please. Okay, declaration. There are several types of declarations. Meron pong 4, meron pong 5, meron pong 6. Nakikita nyo ba ito, guys? Guys, can you see the... Guys. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, if a goods declaration is filed, okay, or lodged, and the purpose is for domestic consumption, dapat po ang gamitin is for po. Maliwanag? Maliwanag po. So, when it is for consumption or bound for domestic consumption, box number 1 should be placed with 4 and 4. Paki-check po doon sa may laman po para magkaintindihan kagad tayo, para mabilis po tayo. Okay? Maliwanag po. Sir Karandang, if the goods imported is TI or CI, conditionally or temporary importation, meaning goods are to be imported, but within the period allowed by law, it is to be re-exported. Kaya po ang tawag dun sa declaration na yon, 5. Temporary import or conditionally importation. Maliwanag po. So, if the goods imported is to be cleared under 5 or declaration 5, the goods shall not permanently stay in the Philippines. Within a period of 6 months, pursuant to Section 800 of the CM5-3A, it shall be re-exported. And most of the time that declaration 5 and 5 is used is when the goods is subject to Section 800, conditionally importation. Okay? So, yun po yun, ha? Maliwanag po. Maliwanag po, Mr. Karandang. Maliwanag po. Okay. Assuming this is a machinery. Machinery, and this machinery has malfunction. Nasira po. At wala pong gagawa sa Pilipinas. Ang pwede lang pong gumawa is a repair shop or station abroad. So, walang pwede gumawa sa Pilipinas na itong machine na ito. Then therefore, it has to be shipped from the Philippines to foreign country. Foreign country where the repair is to be made. Naintindihan, Ms. Gutierrez? After the repair, ginawa dito yung machine sa abroad, and after the completion of the repair, it shall be returned into the Philippines. Okay? Guys, naintindihan? Ang kaibahan po ng number 5, in-import, ilalabas. Ito naman po, in-export, ipapasok ulit. Did you get it? Did you get it, Ms. Bulao, Gutierrez, Gabianza? So, magkaiba po ito, no? Ito po, i-import, papasok, ilalabas. Ito naman po, ilalabas, babalik ng Pilipinas. Ang tawag po dyan is RI, reimportation po. So, if the situation is conditionally importation, and the importer is lodging or filing a goods declaration, ang gagamitin niyo pong declaration is 5-5. Maliwanag po? Now, if the importer or if the item has been exported and it was reimported into the Philippines, ang gagamitin niyo pong declaration is 6 po. Klaro guys? Klaro guys? Now, if the goods is to be, okay, stored or to be cleared under warehousing, ang gagamitin po dyan is 7-7. Klaro, guys? If the goods are bound for warehousing entry, imported by a customs-bonded manufacturing warehouse or an operator of a customs-bonded warehouse, ang gagamitin niya po is 7-7. Maliwanag po, guys? If the goods are for transit, ang gagamitin niya naman po is 8 po. Klaro, guys? Klaro, guys? Mr. Karandang, in my accomplished sample of goods declaration, what was the number placed or indicated in the declaration? Mr. Karandang, 4. So, ibig sabihin po niya, 4, meaning the goods are to be withdrawn and the duties, taxes, and other charges are to be paid. Right? Aliwanag po. Dito, wala pong halos binabayaran. Wala pong duties and taxes dito po. Now, in the illustration or in the sample letter or sample goods declaration or accomplished goods declaration, the importer here is withdrawing the goods from the BOC for domestic consumption. Tama, Mr. De Guzman? Okay. After declaration, next is office code. It is the office where the goods is to be cleared. Or it is the office code, or it is the office where the goods is actually discharged or unloaded. Tama ba? Ms. Gabionsa, what is the office code? P02B. And what is 2B, Ms. Gabionsa? Ayan po, nasa baba, Manila International Container Port. That is Customs District number 2B, Ms. Gabionsa. Nasa Customs. Yan sa office Port of Manila, right? Pag sinabi diyang P02 or P01, saan po yun? Talagang kayo talaga, pinakalimutan ninyo. Ms. Gabionsa, please recite to me Customs District from 1 to 16. Go. Yeah. Gabionsa, paging. Wait lang. Daan-daan baka mapunit yung libro mo, Miss Gabionsa. Karandang yun. Ang tagal ni Gabionsa, naghahanap pa. Okay, Mr. Karandang. From 1 to 16. Go. Ngayon. Next. Customs collection or customs district po, hindi po port of entry. Baguhin ko po. Mali po yung port of entry. Anong laon yun? Number 1 yung laon yun. Lalaon yun din kita dyan. Bulaon nyo. Bulaon nyo. Bulaon nyo. Bulaon. 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 Teka muna. Gusto ko nakatayo. Sige, tayo. Tayo. O para recitation ko na nakatayo. Nakikita kita. Pag hindi ka nakatayo, walang grade dyan. Kunyari, persir ka, Miss Bulaon. Kunyari, persir ka. Go. Cagayan ano? Cagayan province or Cagayan? Saan? South or North? Okay, go. Miss Gabionza, nakita mo na. Kaya po nakalagay doon office code because the cargos arrive at the MICP po. Maliwanag, Miss Gabionza. Malapit na kitang makutusan, ikaw rin, bahala ka. Miss Gutierrez, hinahanap niya, wala daw siyang idea, hindi niya alam, nandun sa baba. Ay, nako. Nanuini. After office code, ilalagay mo lang yung collection district. Nakalagay doon P02B. Meaning, tingnan mo po doon sa box 29, Mr. Karandang. Ano nakalagay po sa port of destination, Miss Gabionza? Ayun, galing, no? Yun pala, Miss Gabionza, baka tuklawin ka niyan, Miss Gabionza, ikaw rin. Okay? Minsan kasi, guys, pag nagbibigay ako ng ganito, huwag niyong gawing pamaypay. Binabasa po yan. At tinitignan po, ganito lang pala. Okay, guys? Maliwanag? Miss Luna, tama po ba na dapat po binabasa yan? Miss Luna, ito, alam to nung dati kong estudyante kung paano ko ginagawa sa kanila ito. Tanungin mo sa kanya kung paano ko sila ganito dito. Okay? Maliwanag. Pagkatapos po ng Manila International, pagka po ang kargamento is port of destination po, is na iya, ang lalagay mo dito sa office code is P03 po. Maliwanag, Mr. Karandang? Or if the cargoes were unloaded at the port of Batangas, ang gagamitin mo is P04 po. Gabionza, naintindihan mo na. Pareho lang kasi ang kain ninyo eh. Yan ang problema. Huwag kayo masyado kasi magkakain. Ikaw di Guzman, susunod. Manifest number po ang susunod. Manifest number, I will give it in the problem. Maliwanag po. A manifest number is consists of 3 capital letters, then 3 numbers followed by 20. Thus, 20. Meaning, the manifest number has been issued in 2020. Kaya po, thus 20 po. Maliwanag po, Mr. Garandang, Gutierrez, Ms. Lakatan. Okay, very good. Yes. After manifest number, followed by customs reference number. And the customs reference number is C, thus 4 or 7 numbers po. Sir, sino po magbibigay niyan? Okay. Ako po ang magbibigay niyan. Date, colon. Date, I will give it also to you. Kung kailan po siya inilodge. What date this goods declaration has been lodged? Kanino po pinadaan na value-added service provider ito, Mr. Karandang? Anong service or value-added service provider ang ginamit, Mr. Karandang? In other words, di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo, ganito no? Importer and BASP. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Pagkatapos, BOC po. Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay. Oh. What is now the name of the value-added service provider where the goods declaration has been coursed through? The BOC has only accredited 3. Okay? Paliwanag po, 3 po lang yan. Meron po tayong i-connect. Ako yung isa, hindi ko na matandaan eh. Pero yung isa, CDEC po. Balik 3 yan eh. Yung isa, hindi ko na matandaan. Okay? So, 3 po sila. O, ngayon, Mr. Karandang, ano ang ginamit na value-added service provider dito sa sample natin? Nasa bandang ano? Opo, nandun po sa kanan. Ayan po. Kanan. Lower right hand. Opo, nakalagay po dyan, CDEC po. Meron pang isa, hindi ko na matandaan kung sino, no? Pero normally po, either i-connect, second, hindi ko na matandaan kung hindi ko na ano kung ano. Meron din po CDEC. So, ibig sabihin po dyan, ang value-added service the value-added service provider used by the importer declarant is CDEC po. Meron pa pala isa. Para makalimutan sabihin nyo, ulyanin niya yata si Sir. Intercommerce po. CDEC, Intercommerce, and e-connect po. Kahit saan po dyan, pwede kayong mag-lodge as declarant po. As long you are accredited and you are a holder of the CPRS po. Yan po. Yan po ang requirement. Nakikita ba yung illustration ko, guys? Nakikita po ba? CPRS kailangan mo as broker and as importer. Otherwise, without CPRS, you cannot lodge through any or to any of these value-added service providers. Klaro? Klaro po? Okay, Gabianza, Di Guzman, klaro? So, kailangan po nakarehistro, naka-CPRS, si importer, or the customs broker before the importer or the customs broker can lodge the goods declaration to any of these value-added service providers. Ms. Gutierrez, box number 2. Ano ba yan, Miss Gutierrez? Katayin ko yan. Miss Gutierrez. Yes. Ba't tumatawol ka, Miss Gutierrez? Hindi, ayoko ng ganyan. May tumatahol eh. Miss Bulaon, what is box number 2, Miss Bulaon? Okay. O, yan po. MIT. Nakalagay pa dyan, MIT, Miss Gabionza. MIT International Company Limited. Tama ba, Miss Gabionza? So, MIT International Company Limited means the one who sold or the person who sold the goods to the buyer. And that person who sold the goods to the buyer is called the exporter or supplier po. So, pangalan po yung MIT, that is the seller or exporter or supplier here in the Philippines or abroad, Miss Gabionza? Yes, abroad. Plus, of course, the address. Dito, hindi nakalagay yung address. Sabi nila, it's alright. But for me, it's not alright. I will indicate the name of the supplier plus the address. Naintindihan, Mr. Karandang? Mr. Karandang, meron ka bang idea kung paano ko ako ibibigyan ng seat work dito? Tapos, magko-compute ba kayo dito? Ay, hindi. Magko-compute kayo. Magko-compute po kayo. O, tingnan mo po yung second page nung may laman. Nung accomplish. Ito, may laman. Pakita ko. Box number 53. Magko-compute kayo. Tama ba? Huwag na kayong umangal. Pag nagbigay ako ng worksheet, ano yung deadline ko, Miss Gabionza, pagka nagbigay ako ng worksheet again? Walang may time ba yon? Ala po, as you wish eh. Tama ba? Kung submit mo ng 2030, tatanggapin ko naman. Ala naman problema. Ikaw, Miss Gabionza, submit mo sa akin ng 2035, tatanggapin ko. Kung nakatayo pa ako, ha? Okay? Miss Gutierrez, pag sinadmit mo ng 2025, tatanggapin ko pa rin kasi nga as you wish eh, right? Okay. Miss Villarpino, we're done already with box number 1. I'm referring to every box. Box number 1, nakalagay po dyan. Box number 1, declaration. Box number 2, name of supplier, name of exporter plus address. Right, Miss Villarpino? Okay, very good po. Box number 3. Page po. Ang nakalagay po dyan is page of 5. Tama po ba? Mr. Karandang, Ms. Gutierrez, tama. Kasi po, ito pong page 1, ibig sabihin, itong nasa harapan, ito po yung page 1. Plus the attachment po, 4 po ay bali front page of this plus 4 attachment. Kaya page 1 of 5. Maliwanag po? Maliwanag po. Sa akin po, pakikita ko sa inyo para at least nakikita niyo ba yawa ko? Okay, ito po yung front page. Guys, nakikita mo, Miss Gabionza, Mrs. Esposo? Ito po yung pinaka front page. At ito pong box number 53 nasa back page po. Ibig sabihin po, itong box number 53 nasa likod po ng front page nito. Wala pong second page ito kasi po ito nasa likod nito. Naintindihan, Miss Gabionza de Guzman? Kaya po, pag tinanong ko kayo, page, box number 3, kung isang page lang po at wala pong attachment, it should be page of 1. 1 of 1. Tama, Gutierrez? Miss Lakatan? Miss Gamotea, nagkakaintindihan ba tayo? Almete, nagkakaintindihan ba tayo? Magsino? Meron ba nakikita? Wala po? Wala pong box number 4. So, disregard box number 4, Mr. Karandang. Okay? Maliwanag ha? Walang box number 4. Now, what's the next box? Box po? Box number 5. Box number 5. Item po. If what has been imported is a single item, ibig sabihin po niyan, single item means hindi ka po magpo-prorate. Tama? Mr. Karandang? Okay. Let's go to box number 31 to find out whether the importation or what has been sold by MIT is only a single item. Tignan mo natin sa box number 31, Mr. Karandang. Ano ba yung description ng goods? Miss Gabiansa, anong item ito? Anong in-import anong binenta ni MIT sa importer? Anong klaseng item? Okay. Pakilakas, hindi ko marinig. Ano po siya sa Tagalog? Okay lang ka. Tapos, ano nakalagay dyan? Strips. Ano po yun? Ano ibig sabihin ng jackfruit strips? Frozen po siya. Tapos, naka-strips po siya. Ibig sabihin, tanggal na yung balat, tinanggal pa yung laman. Okay, kaya po strips po siya. Langka na talaga. Ready to eat, Miss Gabiansa? Okay, huwag ka masyadong magkakakain. Parehas kayo ni Luna. Kain kayo ng kain. So therefore, kung isang item lang po, ilalagay nyo dyan is item 1 po. Ibig sabihin po niyan, isang item lang po. Tama po ba? Tama po? Pag multiple items, meaning more than one item, 2 items, 3 items of different description and different tariff classification, problema na ba yun, Mr. Karandang? Ano ang problema doon? Yes, magpo-prorate na ba kayo doon? Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay. Proration, hindi floration. Proration. Box number 6, Miss Luna. Total package po, hindi total pack. Baka mamaya kung saan napunta yan, Miss Luna, dahan-dahan ka. Total number of package. Number 6 po yan. Saan po makikita yung total number of package, Mr. Karandang? Box 31. Lahat ng information nito kung saan makukita to. Alam mo kung saan manggagaling, Mr. Karandang. All information to be contained here are to be supplied by number 1. Tandaan nyo to, ha? Number 1, to be supplied by either shipping line or airline. Number 2, the BOC po. Number 3, number 4, tama po? Diyan po lahat manggagaling ang info. And number 5, Nakita, Mr. Karandang? Miss Belarmina, pakibasa mo nga yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ko. All the information to be placed and to be indicated in the goods declaration shall be coming from these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ano yun, Miss Belarmino? Gamoteya, ikaw na. Shipping line or airline po? Airline. Kompleto. Nako naman. Kasi po, pagka sea freight po, shipping line. Pagka air freight po, airline po. Number 2. Na traffic. Number 5 is Gabyonsa. Be careful with the pronunciation, ha? Miss Gabyonsa and Gaboteya, ha? Okay, next. Saan makikita yung number of packages, Mr. Karandang? Okay. And in box number 31, it includes also the description of the goods imported. Right, Ms. Gutierrez? Okay. And these 2,200 packages, hindi naman po actually package, carton. Carton ba, Mr. Karandang? Okay, carton po. City does carton. Rama po ba? Ms. Kapianza, Mr. De Guzman, were these 2,200 cartons shipped on LCL or FCL? Ms. Gabyonsa, LCL or FCL? Ano, Ms. Gabyonsa? Mr. Karandang? Ms. Bulaon? Bakit po FCL, Ms. Bulaon? Mr. Karandang, hindi po siya LCL, Mr. De Guzman. Laglag ka na naman, Mr. Karandang. Tama na. 1/40. Kaya nga sa problem ko sa inyo, di ba? 1/20 STC, said to contain. Tama, Gabyonsa? Wag kasi puro telenovela. Puro mga Koreano kasi pinanood. Panoorin niyo muna si BBD. Nakalagay po dyan, 1/40 said to contain 2,200 cartons of frozen jackfruit strips. Galing, no? Karandang, nakita na. Hindi siya LCL, FCL siya. Talaga naman, Mr. Karandang. Ano? Tama ba? A container, anong size? Di 40. A container loaded with goods consigned to a single consignee and covered by a single bill of lading. That is the definition of a full container load, right, Mr. Karandang? Galing, no? Define mo nga sa akin yung LCL, Ms. Gabyonsa. Mr. De Guzman, wala na eh. Nag-drop na yata si Gabyonsa. Drop mo na si Gabyonsa, Ms. Gamoteya. Hindi na daw siya mag-enroll next sem. De Guzman. Ayoko nga. Gusto ko yung kung ano yung tinuro ko sa inyo ng customs 3. LCL po. Ano ba yung, what does LCL stand for? Okay, how would you define less container load, Mr. De Guzman? Mali po, mali po, mali po. A container loaded with several goods consigned to several importers and covered by several bill of ladings. Yan po ang definition no? Tama ba, Mr. Karandang? Oo, ikaw nag-define sir eh. Okay, next. Tama po ba? Okay. Is the container number of a 40-footer, is the container number of the 40-footer where the 2,200 jackfruit strips were unloaded indicated in box 31? Sir Karandang, nakalagay po ba din yung container number? Ano po yung container number? O yan po yung container number. It is consists of 4 capital letters and 7 numbers po. Okay? Tapos, punta na po tayo sa box number 7. Reference number. I will give you the reference number. Ako po, sa akin po manggagaling yung info na yon. And after reference number / client reference number, it's the customs client number. CCN po yan. It's also in the problem po. Gamuteya, naintindihan ba ako? Okay. Ms. Gutierrez, who is the buyer? Okay. Where? What box? Galing ano. So, box number 8 is where the name of the consignee or importer plus the address. Tama po ba? Maliwanag po ba? Plus the address, complete address, including tax identification number of the importer. Tama, Miss Gamotayan, Gabiansa? Yan po ang ilalagay sa box number 8. Box number 9 po, wala po. Leave it lang. 10, 11 po, capital XX lang po. Okay? Maliwanag po. Mr. Karamdan, what is box number 12? Miss Bulaon, total FIO, ano po yan? F, freight, I, insurance, o other charges po. Talaga naman eh. Kailan lang nagkita sa tariff 3 and 4? Wala na naman. Freight, insurance, and other charges po yan. Total po niya ng freight, insurance, and other charges po. Box number 13. That is tentative release. If the shipment is the subject of a dispute or controversy as to ano uli yung mga issue ng tentative release, Gabionsa? Miss Gabionsa, paging. Miss Bulaon, talaga naman, mag-2:30 na lang, ang bagal natin. Okay, so therefore, if there is an issue and the same is pending with the BCRC, this box number 13, when the importer applied for a tentative assessment or release, it should be marked. Okay? But since this shipment has no issue regarding tentative assessment or release, it has been left blank. Naintindihan, Mr. Karandang? Hindi po mamarkahan nyo lang, meaning the shipment is under or is being applied for tentative release. Just mark XXX. Ganun lang po kasi. Yes po, yan po yun. Miss Gamotea, box number 14. Ulitin mo, hindi ko narinig. Broker slash po. Naku, Diyos ko. Wala. Miss Bulaon, ikaw na nga. And who is the broker? That's my son, Miss Bulaon. Not yet taken. Benison, that's the name of the customs broker plus the office address. Okay, tama po ba? Plus his tax identification number po. Naintindihan, Miss Bulaon? That's my son. Broker din po siya. Okay? Hindi po ako yan. Mas internally cute ako dyan, Mr. Karandang. Makaisipin mo. Although mas maputi siya sa akin. Wag na natin pag-usapan yung kulay. Baka mamaya bumalik pa sa iyo, Mr. Karandang. Box number 15, Di Guzman. Meaning MIT International Company Limited is where the goods was exported, right? Mr. De Guzman? Ibig sabihin, MIT, the supplier in box number 2, is the exporter. And MIT is located in Vietnam. Tama, Karandang? Okay, very good. Galing. Box number 15, Mr. De Guzman. What is CE? What is CE? Hindi po. Country of Export Code. Kaya nga nakalagay ito, BN. And BN is the abbreviation of what, Miss Gabionsa? Vietnam. Ang galing talaga ni Miss Gabionsa eh. Siya po. Sana. Box number 17, leave it blank. Box number 18, Mr. Karandang. Okay. Anong pangalan ng barko? Okay. Liwanagan. Box number 18 shall be placed with the name of the vessel. What kind of vessel, Mr. Karandang? Importing or exporting? Importing po, kasi imported po ito eh. Okay. Dali ka na naman. Importing po, nag-import tayo eh. Tama, Mr. Karandang? And Mr. De Guzman, what is letter B? That? Hindi po. Voyage po. Voyage number po yan. Opo. Kaya nga, kaya nakikita ninyo pag nagpapagawa ko ng letter, di ba? Nakita niyo nakalagay pa doon, name of vessel, voyage number. Tama ba, Beyonsa? As you wish, Miss Gabionsa. Sa inyo yan. Grabe. Next is, inilalagay ko ba ito sa problem? Yung registry number, Mr. Karandang, nilalagay ko ba yan pagka nagagawa tayo ng letter? Yung mga illustration ko. Okay. Manifest number is also the registry number. And that information is normally given by the shipping line or the Bureau of Customs. So kung ano yung manifest number mo, yun din po ang registry number mo. Maliwanag? Maliwanag po? Okay, in box number 19, if it is LCL, those cargoes shipped in a container but to be released not with the container. Pag zero po, ibig sabihin po niyan is containerized po. Pag nilagay mo po dyan 1, ibig sabihin po niyan, wala pong container. Maliwanag, Mr. Karandang? Okay, very good. So pag nilagay dyan 0, since naka-container yung shipment, tama ba, Ms. Bulaon? Ibig sabihin, 0 means that the goods were shipped in FCL. Right, Ms. Bulaon? Now, if it is 1, okay meaning the shipment was shipped not in FCL. It is loose cargo po. Ms. Luna, are you getting me? Okay, very good. Box number 20, Ms. Bulaon. And what is the term of delivery or terms of delivery? And what is CFR? Ms. Bulaon, what is CFR? Cost and freight. Tama ba, Gabionsa? Tama ba, Di Guzman? And CFR is equivalent to FOB plus freight. Tama, Mr. Di Guzman? Okay, very good. Tama, no? Gabionsa? Gamutea, tama? Box number 21 shall be left blank. Box number 22 po, it should be placed. What currency has been used in declaring the CFR? Or the term of delivery or terms of shipment. Anong tawag dito sa term of shipment? Anong tawag natin dito, Ms. Bulaon? Mr. Karandang, anong tawag dito sa mga CFR, FOB, X? Incoterms po. Incoterms po yan. Okay? So, if what is indicated in my situation says CIF, CIF po ilalagay. If what has been indicated is export, export po. Maliwanag po? And 22, what currency has been used in the Incoterms Ano nakalagay? Kung ginamitan po ng US dollar po. Maliwanag? Pag ginamitan po ng Japanese yen, then Japanese yen ang gagamitin. Right, Mr. Ligosman? Okay, very good. What time is it, Mr. Karandang? Getting exciting na ba, Mr. Karandang, Miss Gutierrez? No? Hindi, kasi marami pa eh. Oh. Dami pa sa may, di ba ito yung sinasabi kong back pain. So ayan, nandyan. Yung mga tinuro ko dito sa CM5-3A, makikita nyo ngayon dito. Naintindihan? Yan po yun. Maliwanag. Miss Gabianza, is it time already? Bilis sumagot eh. Talagang walang kagatol-gatol. Yes, sir. Walang. Miss Bulaon, time na? Bilis talaga sumagot. Gutierrez, time na? Gamotea, time na? Di, paano yan? Ang gagawin natin? Nana? Okay. I will continue next week. Maliwanag. Ito para sa single item. Pagdating po ng Monday, nagkita na naman tayo, itutuloy ko yung single item, then susundan ko ng multiple item. Nagkakaintindihan ba tayo, Mr. Karandang? Okay, getting more exciting, right, Mr. Karandang? Okay, so kailangan nyo na ng calculator niyan. Kailangan nyo na ng AHTN niyan. Tama ba, Miss Gamotea, Mr. Karandang? Okay, computation. Sa single item, ala tayong problema, right? Mr. Karandang? Saan tayo may problema? Miss Gabianza? Yung laging talagang nakakainis. Ano yun? Hindi po. Sa proration po. Doon po tayo. Oo. Kasi bakit? Magka-classify ka na, tapos magpo-prorate ka pa. Bakit ganon? Kasi po, gusto nyo maging customs broker. Ngayon, kung ayaw nyo na maging customs broker, di ba nag-notbag yun ang pag-aralan po, di ba? Tama? Miss Bulaon, ito po yung trabaho ng isang deklarant. Naintindihan mo, Miss Bulaon? Late akong pumasok, di ba? Titigil tayo, doon po tayo sa box number 22. Maliwanag? Pagkatapos po doon, itutuloy ko ng total customs value hanggang sa likod po, yung back page po. Then, after that, I will continue with multiple items. Maliwanag? Maliwanag po. Shall we call it a day na? Pwede ko na ba kayong i-dismiss? Miss Gamotea, Gabianza, Lakatan. Pwede na ba? Hindi, wala ko narinig. Ikaw, Karandang, dapat bang i-dismiss na kayo? Okay, Miss Gabianza, Belarmino, dapat na bang i-dismiss kayo? Yes na yes pa daw. Okay, yes na yes pa. Okay, you're dismissed and good afternoon, guys.